Hey everybody, Lazerbolt here, and welcome to another episode. So Captain Sim recently finally got around to releasing their complete C130 package. Unlike the old package they had, it doesn't have just the exterior. It also includes a full cockpit. This is something I've been waiting for a long time. The C130 has been my favorite aircraft for as long as I can remember. It's an absolute favorite. And the C130 that was available from Captain Sim way back in the FSX days, I flew the heck out of that. I absolutely loved it. So anyway, I'm pretty excited to have a C130 to fly in the new Sim here. And yeah, I know this aircraft has been getting a lot of grief lately because it's a little bit on the expensive side. It's $40, and it's not like it's a study level aircraft like a PMDG or anything like that. And it is a really great looking model. I mean, it's fantastic. Tons of animated parts. They've done a great job with that. It just looks really good, and I love it. If I had one complaint about any of it, it'd be the sounds. They're a little bit on the weak side, actually, for Hercules. Anyone who's ever spent any time around a C-130 will tell you first thing that it is loud. Anyway, that aside, I am pretty happy with it. As far as the price tag goes, you know, if it was only $20, I would 100% recommend it to everybody. This is a great plane. If you really like the C-130 like I do, it's worth the 40 bucks. They've done a great job here. So alright, here we are sitting in this beautiful cockpit of the C-130. It's quite substantial. It's got a little bit of everything. There's a lot of buttons and switches that don't operate, but all the essentials are there, and there's a lot of stuff. And check out the overhead panel here. This is where we're going to be doing most of the startup procedure, of course. Just beautiful. Well, alright, let's get started on this here startup. I'm going to move my camera where I can get a good view of the overhead panel here. See all my buttons and switches and whatnot. Alright, first thing first, we'll take the cover off of our bus tie switch and flip that over to the right. And then over here, our DC power switch, put that over to where it says battery. Give it one rotation, click. Alright, we've got some power going on here. Not much, but enough to get us going. Way up at the top here, we have all the controls for our gas turbine compressor. This is where you're going to need to spool up the engines here. First thing we need to do is open up the gas turbine door here. And you'll see that actually a little animated door opens up. Pretty cool. And that way they can connect the system to the gas turbine. Alright, when the door is in the right position, you'll have a little red light on here. Now make sure the bleed air valve is in the closed position before we turn the control knob over to start. Give this a rotate, it will hit start and then automatically go back to the run position. And there you go. Light here turns on, letting you know it worked. And the compressor is on. Now, when everything gets up to speed and the compressor has the right compression, so to speak, this here light will turn green. When that light turns green, we can go ahead and open up our bleed air valve. Might take 15 or 20 seconds, and there we go. Bleed air valve open. Now go down here to the inverter switches. We need to tie these into the bus, so just go ahead and click them over so they're straight up and down. That will tie them into the bus, and now we have power to all of our avionics. Very good stuff. Now you want to check these four switches over here. They're probably on the on position by default, but make sure all of your engine pumps are on. Get a little better view of it here. There you go. Make sure they're all in the up position. Like I said, they probably are already, but if they're not, make sure they are. Alright, now we're ready to start these engines up one at a time here. First thing we need to do is locate these four switches up top. These are the engine bleed air switches for 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll take the first one here and click it down to the override position. Alright, now we need to go down here. You can see the engine condition levers are all sitting here. We need to take engine condition 1 and push it all the way forward to where it says run. You actually can't see it here. Let me see if I get the camera in there. You can see that it's actually written. There you go. See right in there. It's hard to read, but here we go. We'll take the first engine condition, push it all the way forward. There you go, it clicks into place. Once that clicks into place, we go over here to the bottom left and we have our 4 starters. Click on engine starter number 1 and it should go down in position. Oh, after a few seconds we should have some action on engine 1. Alright, there we go. Spooling up nicely. Yeah, see what I'm saying about the sound? It just doesn't really have a roar that you're looking for. Oh well. Alright, once this engine is fully spooled up, the switch here will click back up into the op position all by itself. And there you go. Engine number 1 is all spooled up. Now we go back up to the top here and turn on our generators for engine 1. There we are. We got some power. Now let's repeat that procedure for the rest of the engines here. Engine number 2, bleed air, override. Go down. Grab the condition lever for engine 2. Push it all the way forward. Go up to the engine starter number 2. Click. There you go, after a short pause, engine 2 is firing up. Alright. Number 2 is completed, and engine 2 generator on. Alright, engine 3 bleed air switch down to override. Condition lever up to run. Engine 3 start. Okay, and engine 3 generator on. Okay, and the last bleed air switch down to override. Down and push the condition lever forward and start that engine. Yeah, I'm not really that surprised that they're asking for 40 bucks on this. Captain Sim stuff has always been a little bit on the expensive side anyway, so I guess that's par for the course. And there we go, all 4 engines fired up. Get that engine 4 generator clicked over. Alright, now we have to shut off our gas turbine compressor because we just don't need that anymore. Go ahead and turn our bleed valve to closed. Click our GTC control 1 to the left here and put that in the off position. And then of course make sure you close the door. Now the last thing we need to do is switch our bleed air switches up 1 to on. Do all 4 of them. You're going to want to check your gauges really good to make sure everything is fired up nicely. And it's a good sign when everything is relatively in the same range. You're not having a problem with one engine or another specifically, so very good. Alright, there you go. This beautiful Herkey-bird is all fired up and ready to fly. Let's get her onto the runway and we'll get up in the air and take a little flight. I'll show you some of the basics of the autopilot system. Let's go. Yeah, this beautiful Hercules here really handles good on the ground. Turns on a dime. I am so happy to finally have a C130 to fly around in this new sim. This is just great. I'm loving it. And just the ability to sit in my Herkey-bird with a virtual reality headset is just, that's outstanding, man. I'm super happy. So this is a pretty old version of the Herkey-bird. I believe it is the Hercules version H, which means it doesn't have a whole lot of autopilot functionality. A few rudimentary holds like an altitude hold and heading hold. They can also lock onto localizers and things like that. So you do have some navigation aids that work really good with it. But let's see here. Let's just go ahead and I'll show you the basic functionality of it. That'll get you up and running for now. If I wanted to get into all of it, that would be a whole different video. Let's see here. First, you got to get your camera down there because this here is all the autopilot stuff. And it's kind of hard to see if you don't move your camera over there. Make sure this switch is on gyropilot. This switch right here is the autopilot main. And this is the altitude control. Let's see here. If you just click on the autopilot, turn it on, you'll notice that it holds our vertical speed. So whatever climb you're in, it'll hold that. And it'll also hold your direction. So now we're climbing and flying perfectly straight, and the autopilot will keep us that way. Since you don't have any way to lock onto your GPS line or anything like that, what you can do is take your heading knob here. And see when you move it around, you can see your heading bug. Get your heading bug to whatever direction you want to go. And then over here, right on top here, you got the flight director switch. Go ahead and click that down. Manual, and now you see our airplane turning. We're following this heading bug. That is just beautiful. I love this bird. Alright, so let's say we want to climb up to about, let's say 8,000 feet. We got one more 1,000 to go. What you can do, let me move the camera into a little better spot so we can see. There you go. Now you can see our instruments, our altitude and our vertical speed at the same time, our controls here. See this little knob on the left? Now watch, we'll spin this knob down a little bit. Notice how it brings our vertical speed down. And when we get to about the altitude we want, that's when you click on the altitude control switch here. Click. And you'll notice our vertical speed levels off and our altitude holds at wherever it was. Now you have a simple heading hold and an altitude hold, and that'll get you where you're going. So there you go, the Hercules startup procedure and some of the basics of the autopilot. Yeah, like I said, I absolutely love this aircraft. I can't wait to fly more of it. This Herkey-bird's always been one of my favorite. You know, as far as the money goes, if it was more like $20, I could easily recommend it to everybody. But at the $40 range, I can easily recommend it to everybody who loves the Herkey-bird. After all, like it or not, this is what we got for now. And I do hope someday soon they can update the sounds on the aircraft. That's about my only complaint. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching guys. Bye now.